sorry, I got carried away. And here's Daryl, who's presenting on behalf of the Linwood-Central-Heathcote Community Board. I'm actually getting much better at remembering the order of names. As soon as somebody said to me they're in alphabetical order, I hadn't noticed. It makes it much easier.
Are we on here? Yep, we're on. Good morning, Mayor Leanne, and good morning, councillors. Linwood-Central-Heathcote Community Report, and we've got a photo that has just come up here, I think, that Yanni took when we recently went to Ferrymead. Councillors and community board members were invited to attend Ferrymead. It was a wonderful afternoon, and myself, for one as a community board member, I went along expecting to hear a case about trains and technology at Ferrymead, most of which I already knew, but as we came in, the management at Ferrymead had arranged a mock wedding, and I was pulled aside, and I thought, well, I'm going to get to relive my youth again and to be the groom, but unfortunately I was asked to be father of the bride, which made me feel my age. Look, the management at Ferrymead has undergone change. And what we observed that afternoon was a well thought out plan in terms of management. They are really changing things, they are working together as a team, and this mock wedding was really symbolic in the sense that the underlying theme was a union between the council and Ferrymead Park, and demonstrating to us how they are prepared to think outside the square. They had caterers arranged to show us that they were able to coordinate weddings. They put to us how change management could operate successfully. All in all, it was a wonderful day where I came away thinking that Ferrymead Park looking for support from council. They are not seeking a hand out.
What role did Tim Baker play? Oh, sound technician.
They're very much looking for a hand up, so we'll just go with the flow with the video until such time as something else comes up that I can comment on.
Yeah.
I must say, as a father of 3 daughters, I was somewhat surprised as father of the bride to find that I had a 4th.
So do they hold wedding ceremonies here?
They are able to hold wedding ceremonies there, and they have the facility and they have the venue, and they were simply showing us through demonstrating in a very practical and pragmatic way that they have the church available, that they have the facility in terms of a venue available to host weddings in what might be called a very, well, what's the term, invigorating, different type of environment. Catering was arranged, a florist had been put on, and look, for all intents and purposes, the folk involved in the role play here, inclusive of the children, you would have been hard pushed not to think that you were at an actual wedding. So not to lose whilst we have a sense of occasion here in terms of what is taking place, the real hidden message here is that Ferrymead Park management are stepping up, they are stepping out, they want to work with the council, they want to seek funding, they were very keen to show us what they could do and how innovative they were with their management, and not necessarily sticking to what you and I might refer to as the status quo: come to Ferrymead, go for a ride on the train, take a walk around the park.
Very good.
It's just like 2 or 3 photos as well. And if I could just add that all the people that provided the services for that mock wedding all donated it free. They gave up their time, the catering, everything was donated by a number of groups, and that was really lovely. And they even decorated up the tram with flowers. Unfortunately, you can't quite see. I don't know what's the contrast on the thing. And that was the Masonic Lodge that they'd turned into an absolutely magnificent function venue. And so, yeah, I just thought it is nice to acknowledge that. The main organiser behind it was Susan Carson from Events and Wedding Professionals. And then there were a lot of other support from different local businesses. But as Daryl said, it was really a really neat showcase of just the change and, I guess, approach that they were taking. And really just for those that were there, and thanks to all the community board members across the city that attended, it just blew us away in terms of the hospitality and the professionalism with which they put the event together. So yeah, huge thank you to them for hosting us, and also obviously they saw their relationship with council and the community boards as being really important, and they just organised the mock wedding to signify the fact that we were coming together in a new partnership, which I thought was really lovely.
Yeah, thank you. Look, that we're going to run out of time for the community board presentation if we don't move on.
Okay.
So thanks, Daryl.
Thank you. Moving to the first slide there, I would break it down. We dealt with the wider spectrum of issues at the community board meeting. If I was to break it down into 3 parts, part 1 would be resident parking, parking restrictions and alteration to bus stops and taxi stands. Part 2 would be that we approved street layout, and we investigated tree planting, street renewal for the project in Griffiths Avenue. And part 3 was that the board approved grants from discretionary funding as outlined on the slide. So if we go to the second slide, part A, recommendations to the council with respect to the coastal pathway. You'll note there that the board's recommendations to the Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee to consider the Christchurch Coastal Pathway as part of the major cycleways routes project for funding. The upshot of that, I had a report back from a meeting held, I think it was yesterday, and the upshot of that is it makes no difference if the coastal pathway is part of the major cycleways route project, as the council will support the coastal pathway regardless of its status, and council will work with the coastal pathway to put in submissions for funding, whether that be government funding or funding from other sources. Also, council staff are setting up a meeting which will involve the Coastal Pathway project leader from council, Kirsty Mahoney, as well as Lynette Ellis and the Community Pathway chairman, Scott Babington. So all in all, the recent meeting was a positive and supportive meeting with respect to where to here for the coastal pathways, and the fact that links into the major cycle pathways funding is not necessarily the end of the road, so to speak. Thank you. Significant projects and initiatives. The opening of the Sumner Centre, look, that was just such a well-received and happy occasion. It was a cause for celebration in Sumner. And my thanks as a community board member goes to Mayor Leanne and the council. Any funding that community wins is hard won. Any funding that comes from council have to balance priorities. So look, there was a meeting of minds over this, and the Sumner community, the feedback that I've had is outstanding. It has really enabled Sumner to get back on its feet, and it's provided that connectiveness within the community. And it's such a wonderful event. Yesterday I spoke to my next door neighbour who is roughly about 80 years of age, and he showed me the books that he'd just been down to get from the Sumner Library, and he was telling me what such a wonderful facility it is. So I know I'm articulating well done, but the practical face of that is that the community appreciate it. So thank you, well done, council. Next slide. Significant community issues. At Community Board, concern has been raised in relation to, and I stress, the proposed liquor outlet in Phillipstown. We had members of the community come along. They were hard-hitting and they were confronting, and they articulated their concerns and their message very well. At the moment there is no application, but from a community board perspective, should an application be lodged, the community board will support the community and their concerns with respect to the proposed liquor outlet at 375 Ferry Road. One of the concerns was there is an absence of a local alcohol liquor plan to give the community voice, and that was discussed at council, and it is a point of concern. Next slide, thank you. Progress reports against the community plan, and you can go on to the next slide. The plan has been adopted. There has been a wide variety of community engagement and workshops. We have agreed on priorities. It's been well debated, and our priorities in the board plan are colour-coded to match the council's, our long-term plan and the council's long-term plan. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. The best.
Oh, I forgot the best. The community board matters of interest, and here I thank Yanni for drawing this one to our attention. These are the toilets at Taylor's Mistake, and I guess it's probably, when you look at these toilets, they've been entered into the Keep New Zealand Beautiful Loos competition, and the results, the winners, will be announced at the gala dinners in Hastings on Friday the 13th of October. The point I'd like to raise about this is when you look at these toilets here, what a great place to spend a penny. They are aesthetically pleasing, they're easy on the eye, there's a wonderful surfboard mosaic at the front. It's lateral thinking, it does away with the usual ugly concrete bunkers, and I wish these toilets all the best in the loo competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've really come to the end of our time.
One very quick point is, yes, the second, or the other really great thing about these toilets is that there used to be a huge amount of vandalism. Since we put the art and built these toilets, they've basically been almost vandalism free. So it's just a really positive story, and I just wanted to say that hopefully the Lake Roto Katahutu toilets can also be considered for an award when
I don't think that anyone should underestimate the value of aesthetics in terms of prevention of vandalism. You know, if you've got something nice that's valued by the community, it's much harder to be the first one to do anything to it.
I think these toilets have set a real benchmark.
Yeah, it's great. I could think of lots of puns, but I won't. I won't do any of them. No, we won't go there. Okay, I'll behave myself. Thank you very much, Daryl, and I mean, you're an old pro already now, so...
Thank you, Mayor
look forward to welcome you back
Council.
on another occasion. Thank you. The next one is the Banks Peninsula Community Board. Oh, sorry, we need to move and accept that. Yanni, Dion, put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carries. Sorry.